já estou transmitindo, né? Okay, good afternoon everyone. We are very sorry about this delay. We were having some technical problems, but welcome to another seminar of the Astronomy Department seminar here at the IAG. Today we are very pleased of having with us Rodrigo Carrasco. Many thanks for being here today presenting your work. And let me just briefly introduce him. Rodrigo got his PhD degree in astronomy from the University of Sao Paulo. Actually, he studied here at the IAG, not in this building, but at the IAG. And he has a vast experience as a researcher, and currently he's a researcher at Gemini Observatory and the NFS National Optical Infrared Astronomy Research Laboratory. His research concentrates on the study of galaxy population in clusters and groups of galaxies, focusing primarily in the kinematics and dynamics of the galaxies in these structures. And today he's going to talk about Gemini Queue observation and the Gemini's next generation observing system. And for those that are in the Google Meet, you can ask the question after the presentation. You can raise your hand there. And if you are following us through YouTube, you can write your question down in the chat and we will read the question for you. If anyone is with the camera, please shut the camera down and the microphone. And whenever you are ready, please, you can start.
Okay. Thank you very much, Maria, for the introduction, and thank you very much for the invitation. And I am very, very happy to be here again after about 5 years. That my last time here in the IAG. Today I will not talk about my research, but I think that I will talk on something very important, in particular for the Brazilian community. Is the Gemini Queue observation and the Gemini's next generation observing system. Part of this presentation was presented in the Gemini Science meeting in Seoul, Korea, and I think that it's very important that the Brazilian community also can have an access to this, to know about what is the next generation observing system. As a brief introduction, I will show you what is the path from phase 1 to observation and data distribution at Gemini. Some of the things that you don't know and are behind the scene is the way that the data is taken, how the queue is planning during the night, and this is I will describe briefly what is the phase 1 tool, program approval and the queue construction, observation preparation, which basically is observing tool, natural Gemini offices, Gemini contact scientist duties, and then I will concentrate on the Gemini Program Platform, which is the new platform that Gemini, within the Gemini multi-message era of astronomy, are planning for, I will say, starting next year. Well, many of you, I don't know, many of you know what is this phase 1 tool. It's the way that we review the PIs, prepare the program, the science program with justification, the collaborators, PI, the target, condition, etc., the resource configuration, and the list of targets that you supply for observation, and you submit this to your time allocation committee via a web-based browser, which now is broken, but you can submit. Remember that the deadline for the 24A call for proposal for Brazil is October 2nd. Then you pass from a process named National Time Allocation Committee. If you have a fantastic science case, your program is approved and very high ranked, okay? And then the programs are ranked according to the quality of the science and the science justification. And when all the national tags meet and decide which program are going to be observed at Gemini, all these programs are sent together to the International Time Allocation Committee, which is something that a very, very complicated and stressful work. I know, because I was the ITAC chair for 3 years and dealing with all the programs, and I will not put details on that, but basically you have to put the program according to the band of each program, to the participant shares, to the observing condition constraint that they require. Then you have to negotiate with different participants, and then in order to build and construct the queue. When you construct the queue, then it's submitted back to Gemini, and then you have this famous observing tool. I don't know if you are familiar with that, but basically this is the observing tool. When you receive the email from Gemini saying, well, you get time, then you have to start to prepare your observation. You use the observing tool where you, the PI, and co-Is are responsible for the construction of the observation using several templates that we can provide to you. And there are a lot of help desk web pages where you can read and construct the sequences. Now, this is an example of one of the programs on 22B. When you are done, all prepared or ready observations are available from the observing database. Then each observation has a weight defined by, as I already say, band, observability window, the PI priority, program status, if it's already started or not, or is nearly completion. Of course, target of opportunity, rapid target of opportunity have a very high rank in the, normally they end in band 1, etc. And the focus at Gemini is basically to the completion of band 1 and band 2 program. This is our goal, okay? And the goal also is to focus on delivery of useful data. In this case, the band 2, the goal, our goal is always complete band 1, but band 2 also we try to complete as much as we can, and focusing on programs that are nearly completion, then we try to complete them. And in band 3, of course, I mean, it's some kind of filler. Then we are trying to complete as much as we can until the minimum time requested by the PI, or program when it's almost completed. And one of the important things here is that the nighttime is prepared by a staff astronomer, okay? And the staff astronomer taking into account all these variants. And the staff astronomer is designed as a queue coordinator. And this is very important. This is behind the scene where you don't see. And the queue coordination basically is an awake period where you have to construct using the queue planning tool. Okay, here is an example where you have all possible variants of weather conditions, where you have to fill the entire night with all the program, with all the possible variant conditions, in order to provide this to the observer during the night, the possibility to select which program they want to observe, and according to the condition that you have at the moment. And that is done via web browser, where the observer look at the web and take a look at what they can observe, and then they start to move and execute the programs. If the condition change, they have to stop the program and change to another program that requires very different condition. And all the observation is done also using a web application named Web Sequencer Executor. Here is an example of a GMOS observation, where it's a fully automated system. After you start to guide, I mean, you center the object in case of a spectroscopy in the center of the slit, object of interest, and then automatically you start to observe, and the data quality assessment is done by the observer at night, and immediately when the data quality is done, it's ingested automatically to the Gemini Observatory archive, and you can have access to all your data in 2-3 minutes after the data is ingested. This is very important for the people that is doing gamma ray burst, supernova explosion, target with the gravitational wave that we probably will start to receive soon, potential target. And because they analyze and immediately communicate to the rest of the community what they found. However, the current proposal programs, preparation, application, is almost in use by 20 years, and this is something that we have to change. We are, and then we need to put everything together in one system that will be more usable for the users, and also will be much easier for the support staff in order to manage. Okay, we have 2 telescopes. Okay, then the idea is to, right now we differentiate the 2 telescopes. We want to put everything all together. Then it's time to start fresh. This is something that the Gemini community understood a few years ago. And sorry for the, the names of superimposed there. And as I said, we need to improve usability, make proposal much easier for the user, and improve the flexibility and to reduce the user staff support that we have basically. And one of the important goals is to support the time domain astronomy, in particular within the framework of the multi-messenger astronomy. A scheduler like the IPs using by Aeon, I don't know if you know, but Soares used Aeon for some of the night. It's a fully automatic program system, and it's working very, very good. And support new instrument in system, much easier to incorporate new instrument, and avoid obsolescence. Make the code more maintainable and scalable, right? Much easier to maintain. This is something that was proposed in 2017, and you can find an update in the NOIRLab mirror from January 2021. And the responsible of the people for this new Gemini Program Platform is Brian Miller, my colleague Brian Miller, and Andrew Stephen from Gemini North, and the head of the software group, Arturo Núñez. There is a lot of people working here. Not only the 3 I mentioned. What is the Gemini, the GPP, short? It's a web application that have 9 different subsystems. One is an external subsystem where you have a dashboard where you can enter this via a web page application to this system using your guest password or your org ID. I will explain why org ID is very important. The Explore itself, which I will, if I have time, I will show them a demonstration of how it is working. The Browse block, where you search for all target of your interest, in automatical way. And you have an acronical step that you follow all the search that you are doing, and also you have all the weather constraints. An internal, which involve several web applications that is observed. The resources include automatically connection and to the weather station to know exactly in real time how the weather behaves in order to automatically the scheduler, which is also part of the internal web support, in real time can tell you which program you can observe or what you had to change, okay, during the observation. And of course, there are some administration. Here is a schematic, okay, where indicate what is the PI involvement, Gemini staff, and the observer, okay. Explore. This is has been in place. There is a web page. You can try, but not now. Wait until the cyber incident problem is fixed by the Gemini Observatory, okay. But you can test it and send feedback about Explore. What is Explore? Explore is a web interface with the capability to discover, propose, and submit observation. Okay. You put the observing constraint there. They have a built-in ITC, automatic sequence generation. You don't have to worry about the automatic sequence generation. You say, okay, I want to observe this target. I need this signal to noise. I need this resolution, and then Explore provides to you the list of all possible combination of mode using all instrument Gemini. Then you say, okay, I want to observe in the optical. Okay, then limited to GMOS in this case. And then the target where is located? Well, for by declination, it's better to observe from the south, not from the north. Okay, then you can pick the south. But you also can observe from the north. In the same program that you will submit. You don't have to differentiate Gemini North and Gemini South. Okay. Bulk editing, you can change, for example, select 1, 2, or 3 observations, change the condition, change the scene. Another thing is that we are trying to move away of this EQ70, EQ20, EQ85 percentile, and then the PI can request now exactly what is the scene that they want. For example, I need a scene better than 0.8 arcsecond or better than 0.5 arcsecond. Okay, this is the goal of this project. And as I say, it's under construction. If you want, you can take a look on this web page, exploregemini.edu, when the connection to all the system is restored. Wait, I don't know when. Okay. Well, and before I show you some demonstration about this Explore, I want to show you the different part that Explore contain. For example, application is an application switcher. You can identify by as I say, as a guest user. Then you can start to work and prepare your proposal. You can write everything there. I mean, you ingest your LaTeX science justification, but you can construct the entire observation that you want to do without separating between phase 1 and phase 2. You do everything in one web interface. Okay. However, to submit the proposal, you need to log in with your ORC-ID, because it's something that most of the American Astronomical Society journals request right now. And I see that other journals like Astronomy and Astrophysics and Monthly Notice now are requesting also to include your ORC-ID, which is a very secure way to see your research and submit this proposal. Okay, there are different panels. You have observation, you have target, you have constraint, and you have configuration. Okay. All screens show all the important information. For example, in this screen, we define one observation in NGC 1055. Automatically, the system browse the image, okay, and search, depending on the instrument you are selecting. Automatically search guide star. Okay, you are done with that, and then you can start to play with which spectroscopy you want. You can put here, okay, I want a resolution of 1400, for example. Okay, signal to noise above 40. Then automatically the Explorer gives to you all the possibility of what you can do, which mode of observation can you use, with GMOS, F2, or other spectrograph. Okay. Also, we have it embedded the integration time calculator. I mean, it's automatic, everything. Okay. I had the possibility to test it, and it's really good, really fantastic. And you have the possibility to view everything, as I say. Okay. You have an advanced configuration. For example, they are part of selection that you can customize the instrument parameters, modify the default wavelength, for example, already construct a sequence with 3, 4, 5 different central wavelengths. Okay. As I say, you can set up everything using your signal to noise, exposure time, exposure count, etc., etc. Okay. And we'll give to you exactly the total time you will need for each observation. I mean, including the overheads, because it's automatically calculated. Okay. Well, the authentication. Well, basically the idea, as I explained it, you can test everything using your a guest account, but if you want to submit everything, you need an ORC-ID account. Okay. And the idea with this is that basically it's avoiding managing individual emails, because with one ORC-ID account, the PI have exactly one number. Okay. And also will help a lot to track the publication record for the proposal we submit. As I say, this is something required by WES, but more journals are now requesting that you enter your org ID. It's a good practice. If you don't have an org ID account, open one. It's for free, okay? And easy to obtain. And also the advantage is that keep the current email address of the principal investigator and co-investigator in sync with and with affiliation of each of the participants of the proposal. And finally, when you already done with the proposal, with all the target that you want to observe, etc., with Explore, you have an option here to include all the investigator detail, abstract, request detail, attach PDF templates, share and collaborate them between different collaborators. You don't have to submit the LaTeX file separately, or use Overleaf, for example, which sometimes is very expensive to use for a collaboration for more than 2 people. You can share with this within the Explore. This is the idea. The export PDF, you don't have the problem of duplication proposal, okay? Because sometimes you submit the proposal, you say, oh, I forgot to include one of the COI in the proposal, then you submit again, and you have to contact the National Gemini office. Okay, I submitted the same proposal twice. Okay, please delete from the phase 1 backend that proposal. And you can submit or retract proposal. I mean, let's say you, okay, no, I will retract, I don't want to submit now because I didn't finish the analysis. I mean, I will not convince the TAC that they will give me time, okay? Also, the advantage that the Explorer has is the possibility to manage this target of opportunity, which is much easier. And one of the things that I found very, very, very nice here is that everything can be done with Explore UE, can be done programmatically. I mean, you can have your, I don't know, Python script program, and you can submit all your target that for rapid target of opportunity, for example, using scripts. You can add target observation, can be added. The target of opportunity can be created from scratch using APIs and GPP of automation, basically. And it's not necessary to prepare the famous target of opportunity template that I mean, as a contact scientist, sometimes we lost hours constructing this template for PI because they want to observe with everything that we have there, with all gratings, and when they have a rapid target of opportunity, and depending of the grating installed on the instrument, then they pick one of the sequence. I mean, you lost hours on doing that. Okay, that is a much easier way to do all this setup of your target of opportunity. Another component that is very, very important for this project is the observe component. This is something that you don't see because it's part of internal construction at Gemini Observatory, and we are redefining entirely the way that we will observe with an automatic scheduler. An automatic scheduler is a real-time scheduler where basically the queue coordinator will still prepare a plan for the night, guessing the condition based on weather map, etc. for the night. However, the system will be automatically, you have the option to automatically construct a queue for a night depending on the condition, okay? And the observe is connected with the rest of the services, like say weather tower. Now we are installing at the Pachon devices that will monitor the surface brightness of the sky, which will give to you the possibility to set up automatically the sky brightness in order to pick correctly which problem that you can observe, for example, in dark time, the gray time, or depending on the location of your target, you have more illumination, less illumination. Also, they are finishing to install all this monitoring for cloud cover condition based on observation of spectrophotometric standards. This is a separate telescope, but it's a project of Rubin Observatory. The idea is to monitor the 0 point during the night. Okay, with that 0 point, you can tell the system, okay, I have 1, 2, 3.3, 0.4, 0.5 magnitude extinction. Then automatically the schedule would do that. Okay, then in this example, and also include the interruption for targeted opportunity. In this example, at the top you have the programmed queue for the night. At this position, they are observing this program. Okay, this program basically is an GMOS VC100 program. Is observing the first step. It's taking a 1200 second exposure, but at this time where you are in almost ending the exposure, we receive a target of opportunity. It's a rapid target of opportunity. Sometimes you can wait until you finish exposure in order to go to the target of opportunity. Sometimes not. Normally you have the option here to stop and switch, abort and switch. Abort will read out the image immediately without any calibration, and you move to the target of opportunity. Stop and switch, I mean, you have the possibility to end the image, and then you switch to the target of opportunity. You have two different ways, and you can see that it's automatically updated permanently in a real time. This is what we need. I mean, the idea is not to waste the time to prepare a large plan for one person, half a day or more, for different conditions, and then in the automatic schedule is moving to that direction to facilitate our life and of course the life of the PI, and provide better, data to them. Okay. And also you can have the possibility, because you have in everywhere you have any helps, then will give to you instruction on how to interrupt the data, etc., because you connect directly to the program. The chronicle of the observer basically consists on you log in, you prepare you have the night and observing log, you have data set comments, data quality assessment that you are doing at the same moment. Program time accounting, this is done automatically because it's very important to count how much time was used for the program, and if time is lost because of fault or weather, then that is automatically also handled by the automatic scheduler by the observer. And also GPP provides the new constraint capability needed for the GEMA scheduler. GEMA is Gemini in the era of multi-message astronomy. By the way, we love anachronism. Then I have to explain basically what these anacronyms are. Update plan in real time with weather, targeted opportunity. This is some example. I will not explain what kind of algorithm they are using. It's very complex algorithm. I don't understand that algorithm, but they try to explain me. More capable APIs for observation request and querying observatory status. And regarding the implementation status, the software infrastructure and the deployment process following GPP is maturing. You have already explored that you can test. And I will show you what is the schedule for the next couple of semester on that. And then they are currently refactoring the scheduler algorithm to use the new infrastructure, because they slowly are adding more and more instruments. This is the GPP timeline, updated recently by Brian, based on the cyber incident that we have at the observatory. The GPP, the work is focused in preparing on an engineering demonstration of taking science quality GMOS longest lead data on the sky by October 2023. If we return to operation by October 2023, because it's not clear to me if will be, probably next week we will start to observe Gemini South, I don't know. Okay. And the plan is to have an system verification. It's a one-night telescope internal SB activity with GMOS north and south by January 2024. I mean, the idea of the engineering demonstration is basically use the entire system, explore plus scheduler plus observer, okay? And let's see if we can provide everything that we expect from the entire system. That requires a lot of modification. We have to modify the telescope control system, the telescope, the way that we manage the data, the data handle system, etc., etc. Everything now is implemented on at the level of the telescope, but we need to return to normal operation to do that. Then the step one in the future is the idea, the goal is to do a special call for proposal for GMOS imaging longest lead using the new system. What that means? You will have to prepare your proposal using the new web interface, okay? And everything using that web interface. Submitting the proposal, using your org ID, etc., etc. Then we will observe everything using the new observe and scheduler interface. This is the goal. And the idea is that we want to use 5% of the telescope time of more or less 100 hours per telescope for a reasonable evaluation. Scheduler testing, considering reducing the scope in order to focus on GPP implementation. Okay, this is something that we are still discussing, but the idea is try to already have this system in place as soon as we can. The step 2 will be testing a new instrument mode are implemented in F2, GNIRS, the North, GHOST, which is already offered for the community, the high resolution spectrograph at the south, Scorpio in 2025, which is we expect to have this in 2027, and we will use a lot of time to convert the existing program. And then one possibility that we can give the PIs a time bonus as a motivation to convert everything, because it will take time. I mean, you have to accommodate everything, the observing database, everything. The step 1 is now planned for the 24A, 24B boundary with the call around May 2024 because of the problem that we have with the siren incident. And the operational deployment of everything is expected as planned in 2025. Okay, and I want to give to you one more thing. Is that I want to thank Brian Miller and Andrew Stephen for all these slides, because they give all these presentations to different community. And the WES in January this year, in the Casca meeting in Canada, at the Gemini Science meeting in the last year in Seoul, and I think that it's very important that the rest of the community in Brazil, Argentina, and Chile knows about this new system, and I hope that we can do that in the next few months. There is a web page where you can fill questionnaire. You can contact Andrew Stephen or Brian Miller. When you have the access to explore, then you can start to test it. Okay? It's the way that you will have to submit your new proposal. It's very nice interface. And then anything that you want to ask about explore, you can contact Andrew Stephen or Brian Miller. Okay? And also, if you are interested because they will open participation to test everything, and then you can send comments. Say, I don't like this, I like this, etc., etc. And it's very important that the community involved into the testing of this system. In summary, Gemini is constructing a new observing system, the Gemini Program Platform, GPP, to support the follow-up and to make using Gemini easier for everyone, user, staff, etc. More use of Apple will be allow better interaction with external system and improve the automation of the system. For example, for target of opportunity, which is in the era of the LSST survey, will be very, very, very important. Remember that the LSST, Vera Rubin Observatory is scheduled to start to deliver science data at the end of 2024. Terabytes of data, okay? And probably we'll have hundreds of thousands of triggers. No? It's important that we have the possibility to manage this. And of course, the GPP provides the constraint and infrastructure needed for the automatized scheduler. Okay? And community involvement is very important, it's vital. Then if you can use, and I can share with you the link when everything back to normal, okay, then you can test with Explore. And thank you, but before thank you, I want to show you 7 minutes of demonstration of Explore that is on a video. I can hear here, and with the lovely voice of my colleague, Brian Miller. Let me see if I can hear it.
The Explore web application for proposal and observation preparation. If you want to try it out, you don't need to log in. You can just continue as guest.
Can you hear?
This is the basic layout. Up at the upper right, you have user information. On the left, you have a series of tabs which give different views into the proposal program that you have open. If I click on observations, I get the list of the currently prepared observations. Clicking on one of those provides the observation details in the right panels. Here you have target information and sky view, visibilities, constraints, and instrument configurations. I can also close each one of these panels so that I can focus on a particular set of information that I'm interested in. I cannot submit a proposal as guest. I will have to authenticate, but I don't need to create a separate account. I can just provide my ORCID information and allow Gemini to access that. And now this proposal is associated with my name, as you can see up here. I'm now going to create a new observation by clicking on the plus observation button. Now I'm going to add a target to that. I do that just by typing some text. It'll match that with targets in Simbad and provide me a list of the options. I'm going to select manual 5, and now it's downloaded the information that I could get from Simbad. On the right, you see the sky view. I can zoom out. There's M31. This is one of the private globular clusters in M31. Now, Simbad does not contain a spatial profile and SED information, so I'm going to update that. This is a slightly resolved source with that max about 2 hours a second, and the SED is more like G0 instead of O. Select that, so my target is ready. I've got the magnitudes. I'm going to scroll down here and look at possible instrument configurations for the science I want to do. And this has built into it all the Gemini instruments and modes and configurations. And so at the moment, 414 configurations match what I've entered in, but as I enter my science requirements, for example, I want to observe at the calcium triplet at 0.85 microns. The number of matching configurations decreases. I'm going to want a resolving power of about 2500. Again, this is dropped down, and a signal to noise of 100. Now it has enough information. It's running the integration time calculators to give the total integration time needed to reach that signal to noise. And so I can sort by the time needed, and you can see it's going to take about an hour in these conditions. So, but which one of these should I pick? I can pick GMOS North or GMOS South. One thing that could help me decide is the visibility. So I'm going to bring up the elevation plot here, simplify this a little bit. And you can see the elevation as a function of time. If I click on the GMOS South observation, I see the visibility there. If I click on GMOS North, it's switched the sites. You can see that it's much more visible in the north, as one would expect given the declination. So I'm going to keep this GMOS north observation, and this has basically completed my observation. The tool has automatically generated the sequence for GMOS north needed to produce this signal to noise. This is basically ready to be observed. I might want to tweak it a little bit. For example, I want to see if I can relax my constraints a bit. For example, image quality of 1 arcsecond. And you see the integration times are updating automatically. That goes to cloud extinction. Maybe instead of 0.3 magnitude of extinction, I can handle 1 magnitude of extinction. Again, the ITCs are running and updating times. Now it's going to take a couple hours, but that might be reasonable for this relatively bright target. I can also change the constraints by going to the Constraints tab, and now all the observations are organized by constraint set. All of these observations have the same constraints, and I can bulk edit those by clicking here so all are selected. And for example, change the image quality to be less than 0.8 arcseconds on target. So all of these have been updated. The cloud extinction to 0.3 magnitudes. If I just want to edit one of those observations, I'll just click on that. And now, for example, I can change this to IQ of 1.5 arcseconds. Now, because it's a different constraint set, that observation has popped out and now is its own group. If I want this observation to have the same constraints as these three, then I can actually just drag that observation up into this group. And now it has inherited the same observation constraints. I can do something similar with editing targets. This shows the observations organized by target. This target is included in 2 observations, one for GMOS south, one for GMOS north. And likewise, for example, if I have an updated magnitude for that target, I can select both of those, put in my new magnitude, and that has been updated for both of these observations. If I just want to edit one of them, I click on one, and then I have the option of editing only this observation by default or all observations of this target. So, for example, I want to change this. And then just that observation has been changed. I'm going to go back to the Observations tab here. Yes, we're trying to make this as easy to use as possible, and one way is by building in the help system. So if I click on one of these little information icons, say I want to know about the details of image quality, then the help pops up in this little slide out here, and I don't have to go navigate through any additional web pages. Likewise, we are building in undo and redo from the ground up. So for example, if I change the image quality to 0.15 arcseconds, and then maybe I don't like that, I'm going to change it to 1. And I think, well, maybe I should go back to where it was before. So I click the undo button, and it goes backwards to my previous settings, and I can redo that to go forward. So those are currently the main features of the Gemini Explorer application.
Okay, that is. Thank you.
Thank you very much for showing us the coming system. I'm pretty sure it's really, really necessary for the Gemini users. So here, if the public has some questions, okay, I will start here and then there.
Hi, Rodrigo. I have a question about the targets of opportunity. You mentioned that the new schedule will choose the priority. I mean, if it interrupts the observation and continues with a target of opportunity, or if it finishes the observation. Who decides that? How the priorities ascribed to targets of opportunity?
Well, in principle, we will use the same the same schema that we are using right now. I mean, when you interrupt the observation by a rapid target of opportunity, when we receive one rapid target of opportunity, you have to slew immediately, depending on the instruction that you have in the program. Okay, you will have instruction there. Slew immediately, for example. Then you have to interrupt the observation that you are doing. Okay, this observation is not complete. You have to abort it, and the time used for that observation will be automatically subtracted. Okay, and that charged to the target of the opportunity program. That is the rule. You know. Then, but for rapid target of opportunity, depend of how. I mean, sometimes the target is so bright that they say, okay, you can contact the PI and say, okay, you can wait until you finish your exposure, for example. If you are just started the observation and you receive a target of opportunity, you don't lose too much time, basically. Okay. I mean, but for rapid target of opportunity, you have to slew immediately. That is the rule.
I suspect that with LSST, we will have, as you said, thousands of targets of opportunity per night.
Yeah.
So it will be almost impossible to observe.
No.
To do regular observations, or
no. We
what
have
will happen?
they started to prepare a filtering system because not all. I mean, we estimated for simulation show that 10,000 per night, but not all this trigger will be suitable to serve with Gemini. The Gemini will be used for a very faint and far away target. Most of the target will be used with a smaller telescope. I mean, Blanco, Soar will receive a lot of target. This is why they are testing automatically. They have this AO nights, which is fully automated. Then they submit the target immediately, and the telescope with the operator goes immediately to the target and observe. But I suspect that they will have enough filtering.
Okay.
Then the Gemini, I'm not very sure about this, but the Gemini, I was discussing the Gemini board and the user in the science operation user meeting also, and they had to approve the program that they will use rapid target of opportunity. I mean, the fraction, I don't know. I mean, right now the fraction in band 1 is, I will say, 5 to 10%, rough estimation. But I don't know in the era of Rubin what will be the fraction. There are people pushing for high fraction, but there are people saying no, that is not fair, you know, because the community, not all the community use rapid target of opportunity. And it's still in discussion, but I don't know what is the fraction.
Okay, thank you.
What about the visitor instruments? It will be used through this interface as well?
Well, the plan, yes, thank you, Jorge, for that question. Yes, the plan is start to incorporate visitor instrument at some point in the future. But right now, the visitor instrument are scheduled in blocks, right? And we will continue to do that in block. Now, which visitor instrument we have at Gemini right now? Migrants, we will have on the telescope until the end of 24A. Migrants 2, yeah, is not anymore. It's not in the visitor instruments and a facility instrument in the Gemini North. Just arrived, and the commission started in November. So good news for people that need high resolution near infrared spectroscopy. And we have Zorro and Alopeque. These are speckled instruments, the high resolution instrument, the optical, that's doing the diffraction limited imaging. Okay, but this instrument already installed inside the Cassegrain of the telescope, and we started to train people to observe with this instrument supporting from the instrument team. Okay, that is the goal. But the visitor instrument right now is treated differently because they provide all the data to the user and they reduce the data to the user. But in the future, we want to incorporate some visitor instrument. And Maroon X in the north also is a visitor instrument, but they are planning to move it as a more than like a facility instrument for Gemini, right? But it's a good question. But right now, there are no plans to incorporate. I think that they will incorporate at the end this visitor instrument. Yeah.
Okay. Is there any other question? Okay. So let's thank the speaker again.
Thank you.
And we can go and continue the conversation in the coffee break. Thank you.
Voy a dejar esto aquí después, pero.